Sorry, that might be too loud. The only way for me to really listen to music loud is if I put my headphones on. Hey, it's 9 o'clock. And I didn't do my hair. That's actually too loud. So welcome to Building HTML Systems. I think this is like the third or fourth, maybe, session that we've done. So let's do a quick review of where we're at and what we're doing here. First of all, this is the end website. This is the old version. We're going to replace it with our version. Oh yeah. Also, I have been updating the README a little bit. I think I'm going to do that one more time. I'm adding some of these links sort of as I go along. I love that you can edit this right here. Deployment. Temporary deployment to Heroku for development. Will eventually be released to this URL. I'm just going to leave that. And the Heroku is building. This is the one that Vratislav set up for me the other day. This one, building HTML systems. So I'm going to put these in the README so anybody can easily link to them, even if they come later, including you guys. Whoa, whoa, whoa! What happened there? Something. Oh crap! What happened there? I somehow hit a button and ruined my edit. Shoot. Oh no, it's still there. Okay, that was really weird. Added links to read. Did it. So this is going to be a work session today. I'm going to try and get as work done. So I'm open for chat and stuff, but I'm going to be driving forward. So I'm not going to be like just bringing up stuff to BS about. If anybody wants to help, by the way, once I get into the code, I'll do the live share thing with VS Code. That seems like it'll be cool. This is good enough. Why won't it commit? Do I have to? It let me do this earlier. Okay, hold on. Something's wrong here. So I'm just gonna copy this. I think this page is like out of sync or something. Let me just do a hard refresh. Try and do this again. I could do this locally, I know. It did make it in. Okay, never mind. It apparently made it. It did make it in. I just missed it. Alright, that was weird. Anyway, so the only link that you're gonna need, you guys in Twitch world, or online or whatever, is this one. This GitHub link to building HTML systems. And that should be on my Twitch dashboard here. Yeah, right here, GitHub repo. Hold on. Mouse pose. I like this little Mac app that lets you do this. So that should lead us right to the. Why did it do that? So actually, it links back to Twitch. All of these link to Twitch. All right. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit. I have to fix this. This is so silly. Building HTML systems. Oh, I didn't even add the repo URL in there yet. Isn't that great? Okay. Here's the URL. While I'm doing this, let's see if this button works while I'm doing this. This is the Malcolm in the Middle yak shaving thing. Because I'm honestly, I shouldn't be doing this right now. Okay. But I'll let it play out because it's funny. Can you hear the audio to this? Because supposedly you guys can hear the audio, but I can't. I hooked this up like 3 weeks ago and I never had a chance to use it.
Al, can you replace that light bulb in the kitchen? What does it look like I'm doing?
Okay, I fixed it though. I that's the thing, yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so if you go here now, you'll actually go to the GitHub repo, and this has got all the links in there for all this stuff. So like the end site, simple HTML, this Twitch channel, the forum, the archive if you want to see any of the old links. I'm putting all archives of all of these here on YouTube. So that was that was Tuesday. And then Trello, which is this board, which I'll be doing all my planning with. And I like the Trello because it's super low maintenance. It's like, just throw ideas around and just move them into wherever they need to go. Okay, so this is sort of like the landing page for this project. I'm gonna keep it in the README. If you want to refer someone to this project as it's being developed on Twitch, you just send them to the README. All the links will be here describing what's going on. So, yeah, is the jazz too loud? The Trello is open. Yeah, it's open. If you want to get added to the team, so there is a team. So I've got a team here called Team HTM. How does this work? I'm still trying to figure this out. So here's Team HTM. View team page. HTM community. So here's the team page here, and I think you can ask to be added. You have to have an account. Here's who's in it. So Tachyon's already in there. But Dakwa, you're in here too. And it's open for suggestions, meaning, where's the board? Meaning add a card. If you want, the brainstorm sort of like the suggestion place. And some suggestions I've already said no, I won't fix. Will asked, I made a suggestion of like a plug and play sort of HTML implementation, but I think that would be work that I don't want to do for this. I want to have like a specific HTML implementation. I think I explained this in the last live stream actually. So anyway, so what we're going to do today is continue working on this simple scalar encoder, and I think we might take some opportunity to clean up a little bit too. So let's go look at see what's going on in Discord. All right. Okay. So getting distracted. I'm gonna turn the jazz down a little. You can only have so much. This is pretty good though. I like this. This is the Minahan Street Band. I hope that they don't mute this part of the audio. If anyone sees this on YouTube and this part's muted, that's why, because somebody owns the copyright. So let's get this running locally so we can, hold on, let me move this thing. Okay, building HTML systems. I think let me just get that README change that I just made. And then we'll open this up in VS Code. Okay. Let's close everything out. And I'm gonna do a live share and copy to clipboard. Okay. So I think I can just paste this in here. If anybody's got VS Code and they want to follow along with me, you can open up this code base if you clone it on Git. Well, I don't exactly know what you need to do, but you would typically have a Git clone and you'd be working out of that. So here's the component showcase that Vladislav added. So I wanted to look over some of this new stuff that got added. So first, let's run this, which is npm. Oh, I have to turn this music off. This song will be flagged by a copyright holder, and they won't let me. They demonetize the video, which I don't make any money off any of these videos, by the way. That in YouTube they demonetize the video, and they will block the video entirely if that song plays through. Hopefully the 6 seconds that they heard wasn't long enough for him to do it, but stupid. It's Krungbin, it's a great band, but Warp Records owns the copyright, so I can only blame them, I guess. Okay, sorry. Anyway, npm run dev. So now we should be running this on localhost. Right, so this is what we have going. Home, encoders, coding numbers. This is what we were working on for the most part. The most amount of the work has been going into just translating this one diagram from just sort of a standalone D3 JS component into a React component. And I'm trying to follow this diagram pattern from the red blob visualizations. Oh, where were those? I gotta find that. What was it called? Red blob. I don't want Twitter. Red blob. There it was. Red blob games. That's it. So I love these visualizations. So this is sort of the pattern I want to follow. Here's a good one with the hexagonal grids. Hexagons in the house. Sorry, I get excited about hexagons. This is so cool. So this is the type of stuff I want to do. I love this style. I love this pattern. Sort of just the data presentation pattern. Perhaps we could do something like that. I'm not sure how it goes. See, you go mobile and it slips right in. That's great. So I want to try and make our visualizations like this because it's very cool. This is so neat. Bloop. Anyway, I'm not here to showcase this, although I could. So I'm just kind of clicking through this. We've got categories which should have nothing. I got locked. What's going on? I still don't have a favicon. Okay, categories, time, and then the component showcase. Okay. So this is cool. This is demos the available components for creating tutorials. Okay. So this is how to use a code block, essentially. So let's take a look at this because I haven't had a chance to take a good look at it. Component showcase. So here's the code block content. So he's just got this as a string template, literal template. And it just has code in it. Okay. So this is nice, like multi-line string in JavaScript Harmony. I'm gonna set a constant, and so he's got highlighted lines. That's absolutely great. That's what I wanted to be able to do. And so inside the layout, we just have the code block as the contents, and then the highlighted lines as the highlighted lines. That seems so easy. So let's try and put this in place. Let's use this in encoders. Are there any? No, there's no code blocks here, but there's LaTeX here. So where we would want to use this is encoding numbers, but because we haven't added the text in around this yet. So maybe I think I would probably be going in the wrong direction if I went and implemented that right away. So what I'll do is I'll add another card because I know we're going to have to do this for moving text from WordPress site to new page. This would be, let's call it out by page, encoding numbers. That's the one I want to do first, from WordPress into new page as content. So I'm going to add a bigger description than this. How do I do that? Return, open it, okay. More detailed description. Content of this page includes code blocks, which should use the new code React component. See example in the component showcase. example in component showcase. So labels, this is, I'm going to create a new label and call it, let's see, presentation, content, maybe content, perhaps. I'll make it pink. So this is content for the page. I'll leave it at that. All right. So that basically means, can't type. This content and encoding numbers, I want to extract this out with this code example and put it, this is where the diagram will be, come on, there we go. The diagram will be here, and that's the one we're working on. Go away, go away. That's the one we're working on here. That's gonna be the diagram, and then content after it too. And then there's more diagrams that we're gonna have to create. So we could start moving over the content and just put placeholders. So I'm gonna make a note of that too. Just add diagram placeholders for unfinished work. Okay. Okay, that's to do. We're still sort of doing this, working on React stuff right now. So let me turn this off, This is the one that we'll deploy to. This is sort of our staging area, and this is localhost. So this is our builds. I'm just checking in with everything. So I'm not gonna work on that right now. I'm gonna work on getting this thing to work properly, right? So the last time we were working on this, I had just put in the simple scalar encoder here. Oh, this is so weird. I keep doing this. Okay. We're now using simple HTML, which has a scalar encoder, as you can see right here. And this scalar encoder, how deep does the rabbit hole go? Does it go all the way here? Yeah. So you can see this is inside node modules, but this is basically the scalar encoder code. I gotta chill. This music is freaking me out right now. Sorry. Too intense. Too intense. I'm gonna change it. Honestly, I'm changing it to nighttime lo-fi. That's like my favorite programming music at this point, because it's always chill, man. You can't get more chill than this. And now I just realized that my text is off, and we're gonna fix it. I do this every video, I know. One of these days I will figure out the right way to fix that, but not today. There. Okay, this is our scalar encoder. This is code we're not going to touch. This is just this is what we're trying to show how it works, right? This is the whole page is about how this works. So we've got it broken out really cleanly, at least I think so. But where we're going to be working is not in here, not in node modules. It's in this simple scalar encoder React component. Okay, and that is the diagram. And I should call this. Maybe I'm thinking about changing names around. I sort of want to. I feel like I might end up creating a diagram abstract class at some point. So just keep that in mind, because I want all my diagrams to behave similarly. So right here between these two classes, we may want to add a diagram component or something like that. So as we create more diagrams, I think that's something we should think about. But for right now, we won't. We're just creating the one, and we need to make it like as clean and as efficient as possible. So how does it work right now? Let's review. We're in encoding numbers. So here's our React page. Hey Mark, container, yeah, something like that. I don't know, but I want to call all these diagrams. So I think I will probably use the word diagram, because all of these components will have a D3 rendering component to it, a UI interaction component to it, and most likely a data storage component to it. So yeah, well, we can talk about names later. I want to just refresh my memory about how we use this thing. So one of the things I remember not liking is having to give it an ID, because it doesn't make sense. If you shouldn't have to give it an ID. So that's something. Fix me. We're gonna have to refactor soon, so it might be a good time. Now is as good a time as any. Min and max value bits. This should be like initial value, but I'll just leave it at value. Bits and width. Width is in pixels, but I guess that's fine. So in this is our React component where we take the props and make that our state object. So here's another thing that maybe I'm not crazy about, is even having a state object. It's that sort of thing can get messy after a while. Thanks for the follow, Dragon Bite. Appreciate it. We're doing some React coding right now, and I'm actually just looking through this to refresh my memory about how I built it and what it's doing, and looking for opportunities to clean up. And where I see that, I'm just going to put a fix me. Maybe remove state property. Because at some point you have to be explicit about what a class's properties are, and when you put everything into a state object, you're not being very explicit. So as you can see, we go to this state a lot. So we've got bits and encoding and ID and width, and it's really cleaner to just pull those all out in the constructor. So anybody who's looking at your class can look and say, oh, these are the private properties of the class. So I'm probably going to do that, but I still want to scan through here, make sure I know what I'm doing. So here's another thing that bothers me is encode. I remember this now. Fix me. Function relies on entirely on side effect. So that's sort of a code smell. So this function doesn't take anything and it doesn't return anything. What it does, it computes by manner of a side effect, and that's something you don't really want to do. It's a bad programming practice because it's not explicit about what it's doing. When you hand a function something and you get something back, you kind of know what it's doing. When you just call it, it doesn't self-document. So I can fix this. Component did mount. This is a React thing, and could just make this component did mount, right? Is there anywhere else that I'm calling setup diagram? No. So I could just make this component did mount. All right. I'm gonna make. So I was looking at the chats. Life program 1 hour to write, 4 hours to understand, 1 month later. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, is clean this up. So when I come back, or other people come through here, because this is open source code, I want to try and make this friendly for people to come in and understand what it's doing. I want other people to understand what's going on. And functional, no, I'm not going to go all functional. I like functional programming, but there's a time and a place for it, and this isn't it, in my opinion. Okay, so I'm going to make a note about this component did mount. React component did mount. React component did mount. Did mount. There it is. Trying to find a link to it. There we go. So I'm just going to add this as a comment so people know that it's a React thing for now. I'm not doing the whole pretty commenting thing yet. Maybe when we get to doc, if we ever do. I don't think I'm going to create docs for this, honestly. If I'm going to create docs for anything, it'll be simple HTML, which I think it'd be a good effort to put really clean documentation and generate it. But this is just sort of the website. So I know what Mark's answer is. There's a time and a place for functional programming. Sometimes OOP works really well. Sometimes functional works well. Sometimes procedural works the best, honestly. Well, you're always sort of doing procedural programming. Okay, so on component did mount, this basically sets up, I'll make a note, sets up the diagram since I changed the name. D3 diagram. All right, so yeah, so this is basically calling the D3 function. So it's when the component's mounted, that means we have access to the DOM. Add number line. So all of these D3 functions are taking a component that we're gonna call it a group. Let's look at, all right, so here's our, this is the markup for this component. It has an SVG with an ID, some type of style that is specified here. And then some hard-coded stuff. Number line hover, which I was working on this before, and this is currently not working. So that's where we'll probably go to next after we clean this up a bit. And then we have prop types, which aren't really necessary, but probably a good idea to keep. So we'll get back to the handle number line. I'm just trying to get my head around this, what else we need to do. This is the value marker. I think this is all legit. We'll fix this. Okay, there's a magic 6 here if that's not obvious. I will need to go through and sort of do a last pass for the arrangement of things and take things like this magic 6 out and make some standard padding, settings somewhere. So I will do that. Like there's another just spacing. I should probably call this out somewhere for what it is exactly. But I'm not going to think about it right now. Add output cells. Here's the state again. This is what's drawing the grid right here, the output cells. And it's not doing, I don't think it's doing it perfectly either, but we'll fix that. But just as far as code style, clarity, this is our scale. This type of stuff we might end up pulling out into some standards, perhaps. Some styles for diagrams. Update. And treat cells, remove. Okay. So I've got this treat cells because I want to essentially do the same, treat all rectangles the same whether they are, when they get updated or when they are new. Just give them the same treatment because when they get updated they might move or change color. So we're just saying all rectangles get treated this way, any new rectangles that get entered into the mix also get this treatment, and any that are removed from the mix are just removed from the DOM. Okay, this one we haven't figured out yet, we're still working on that. This is the DOM. Okay, so everything looks okay here. At least I've got fix me's in the places where I want to fix things. And I'm pretty sure that we set up tests. Oops. No, I thought we had tests. I could have swore, or that might have been somewhere else. I don't think we have added any tests here, have we? Nope, I don't even have a source and a test directory. Okay, so I'm mildly concerned about that, but as long as simple HTML has complete test coverage, that's the main thing that I'm concerned about. So right now, since I don't have much experience with React, I have even less experience testing React components. So I'm just going to fix some of these things and make sure everything still works. Well, renders, I mean the handle events and updates aren't working, but like this state object, I am going to remove this. Let's just say, so the things that we want off the state object are bits and encoding ID with value, all the things that we passed in. Okay. And obviously I don't need this at all. I could just say props. This dot val equal props dot val, or no, just leave it at that. This dot min, and these are all required props, so I can assume that they're there, and that's because we did this, right? Okay, let's see, how do I get for anybody who's coming in, I want to share this with you if anyone wants to follow along with my code. If you have Visual Studio Code installed and this Twitch highlighter thing, you can follow that link and actually highlight the code that I'm working on if you see something that I don't, for example. Bits. What else did we send it here? ID min max val bits width. ID min, I forgot the max. Val bits width. Okay. Okay, this is gonna break everything, so. And the encode, so I'm gonna change encode. I know that we're also sticking encoding on there, and I'm not gonna do that anymore. Okay, so this can now just be, well, if I'm gonna, I might as well use this point and just only use the props to extract things. Props. Okay, so now the props are only here. I've created the encoder, and I'll get back to this fix me in a minute. The encode function. This binding, that's fine. Okay. Now, all the places we still have this dot state, or probably anywhere state. So we can change that. So we can probably change this dot state to this dot. Yes, this one. Whoops. No, just this. Not this dot. Okay. This dot, encoding. See, that's not what I want, but I'll fix that in a minute. This dot. All right, so we're just getting rid of this state container, and it's gone. Okay, so there's no more state container. We've pulled out all the properties right here, so we're being explicit And this should now work. This should continue to work. So let's see if it compiles. See if this still loads. Okay, so everything loaded. So that seemed to work. Now let's fix this encode thing. So how do we want this to work? Well, the encode function doesn't necessarily have anything to do. All we're doing is using our encoder that we set up here with some of our initial properties. So it does. So yeah, it does. We need access to this encoder that's attached to the instance, but we don't necessarily need to do this update as a side effect. We could send the encode function what it is going to be using, which is bits, not assume that it's where it's going to get it. And we can also say, assign that to our encoding here, and just say we're going to get our bits from the outside. We're not going to make any assumptions about, well, we're going to be explicit about what we're doing here. We're going to send in the bits to encode. We're going to get an encoding, and then we're going to simply return the encoding. Not assign it to anything, not mutate anything. So we haven't mutated anything in here. We've just performed a function. So now we're being explicit about what this is doing. Use the encoder to turn bits into wait a minute. This is not bits, it's value. That's what I've got wrong here. Value. That's why it wasn't coding properly in the first place. Okay. So I have to fix this. It's not bits, it's val. All right. So what happens with this encoding? Well, we use it whenever we're treating the rectangles, right? That's how we create our rectangles array. Okay, let's see if that broke anything. Compiled. And hey, look, it actually, we have an encoding here, which is what we wanted. Okay, so let's go back and see what other cleanup we want to do here. This is two linear scales, goes value to screen, screen to value, which I'll keep. What are other fixed me's? Okay, we've got a magic padding value here. This is for the marker. Okay, so let's see what this exactly is. This is for this marker. It's 6 pixels right now. So if I make it 60, what changes? All right, see, it moved from here to here, which is interesting. I didn't expect that to happen. Like, I thought it would move in one dimension, not both dimensions. So that means, oh, because this magic 6 is being used to change them both. Okay, so what happens if we make it 0? I think I'm probably applying this wrong, because this doesn't really make sense to me. This is supposed to be 27.5, and I'm subtracting a magical 6 pixels. Let's just get rid of this. It's one of those things that it must have made sense at the time. I think we can just leave it like this. Alright, so we got rid of a magic number. That's another code smell. Now there's another magic number, sort of magic. So here's another spacing number. So if I change this 7 to 0, that didn't honestly, I saw it move up a little, like this thing moved up 7 pixels, but it looks fine. So let's not use it. Let's decomplicate things. Okay. And so I'm keeping these texts and marks, and I don't really even need to do this. I can just leave them. I don't think I will probably, I might use this later, so I'm just gonna leave it like this. So again, we still have some more styling, standardize some styles for the, I mean, that's something that we could do here as well. As far as the SVG sort of styles that we're using here. But I'm not gonna do that right now. So, all right, so we're in a good spot here. Let's figure out whether this encoding is actually working, because this looks like it's encoding something way over to the right, but we've got the value in the middle. So this coding I would expect to be in the middle here somewhere. So something's wrong. This is Falco. This is the only diagram that I have. Running right now. So I'm gonna, if that's the case, then I was right to take them out. But they were, where they came from, they were individually applied to this diagram, so I don't know. Okay, so let's figure out why the encoding's not right. So we should have a console log of this. Encoding 27.5. Oh, see, there we go. The coding is right, so there's something to do with the rectangles is wrong. So we set up the encoder to, oh yeah, we hard coded it to 100, but this should be, what should it be? What was it in our other example? Not this one. And in our old code, let me look at the old source. Widgets, BHTMS, coding numbers. This is the old stuff. This was a simple scalar encoder. Now I forgot what I was doing. Yeah, scalar encoder. There it is, new scalar encoder, encoder params. Where's that coming from? Oh, I'm passing it in. Render simple number encoder. Okay. Okay, so sorry about this. I did it all the way down here. Simple scalar encoder. So I passed it 18 and 100. I don't know why. And I passed it bounded false, so maybe I should put that. I think that's the default, but let's use the exact same. Let's do this. Save. Yeah, they are. These are user configurable. That's what I'm doing. I'm configuring them. Okay, but the problem is the problem is just in the display, I think. So like this, that's the problem. See how this spins way out over here? I'm not rendering the correct width. So my output cells are rendering rectangles way out here where they shouldn't be. So that should be easy to fix. That's going to be down in this add output cells. Here's where we calculate X. And here's the scale that we're using, bits to output display. So this is going to take the index and return the actual pixel value of X that we want. And it is a scale that's going from 0 to the number of bits, which is correct. This is what's wrong. It's this value is wrong, this width, I think. Width. What width am I telling it? 500, that's why. I think. But that should be okay. This should be 500 too. This SVG width is 500. But this is not. So there's a bad calculation. Something's going on. Let's put a debugger right here. Okay, so we're in I, and I'm gonna add a watch for arguments, not that. Bits to output display I. Okay, so 10. That's right. That's what I would want. It should go to 10. If the width is right. Okay. Almost 20, almost 30. So it's not quite, and the bits we have, the number of bits here, this should be called once per bit in the output encoding, because the data is this encoding. So let's actually, what I really want is a breakpoint there. So I want to see what this encoding is. 100, and the bits should be in the middle. So there's 100 bits, and they're each 10 pixels, so it's going out to 1,000. So why is it deciding that they're 10 pixels each? And bits to output display. Bits to output display. I never fixed the breakpoint problem the other day. I just put debugger statements in. I still don't know why that's doing that. It's so this range isn't doing what I expect it to do. I should be giving it 0. Okay, let's put a debugger right here then. Just to make sure that I'm creating it the right parameters. So 0 to 50 bits, 0 to, that's right. That's right. So I'm starting at 10 and going to 490 essentially. So this function should never return anything over 490. Yet it seems to be returning over 500 here. So I'm gonna console log some stuff. Could it be that the cell is with is the width of the individual columns in the diagram? There's no columns in the diagram. We're just scaling. We're just creating rectangles, and we're spacing them out across a space from some x pixel to another x pixel, and we're saying we want this many rectangles within that space, and spacing them out. And I've done this several times, so I'm not sure. I know this should work pretty easily. So I'm just going to do this, return out. That's weird. And because I want to log each one of these. In index I pixel value out. Oh, I still have the debugger. Hold on. still have another debugger. I have 2 debuggers. Oh. Okay, okay. So we're definitely getting pixel value. I was just doing this to confirm that our pixel value is over 500. So here's what's driving me nuts right now. I'm using this bits to output display. I'm telling it to go from 0 to bits. Let me put this back. Okay, I'm creating this what do they call it? Linear. It's just a linear scale. From the domain 0 to 50, because that's how many bits that I want to display. This bits, min, max. Now this isn't the width of the rectangles, this is the x value of each rectangle. I'm going to use this to take a bit, an index of a bit, and translate it to the pixel x value of where that should display. That's what this scale linear does. I'm saying within this range, 0 to 50, return me a function that translates into this range, which is 10 to 490. So I can call this every time. With every index, I can call it, and it'll just return me the x value of it. So this should be within the range 10 to 490, but it's not. This I'm specifically telling it to return values between 10 and 490. That's what it should do. But what happens when you get to the console, when we start calling it right here, bits to output display, with this index, oh, I'm calling it with indexes outside of the range that I specified. That's the problem. Okay, that's the problem. Why is that happening? I must be something wrong with the encoder, because I'm sending it an encoding with too many bits in it. That's the problem. So I know that's the problem. That makes perfect sense now. Okay, so this is fine. It's something with this encoding. So, and I looked at it and I thought, oh, it's fine because all the bits were in the middle, but what I didn't realize is it's twice as long as it should be. All the bits do need to be in the middle, but it can't be that long. So what did I do wrong? I must have created the encoder wrong. I told it the n should be 55. Min and max. W, so this is just the number of on bits, and it's this width, I create this. So if I create an encoder and I say your values are going to be within min and max, give me 100 bits back, what I need to use is this stop bits. Okay, that's it. That's all I needed to do, I think. Let's test and see if that's right. I think that's all I needed to do. Yes. Yes. Okay, that's a celebration. And a cow. All right. So now we need to make this move when we interact with it, which sounds like a good plan. But first, let's take all our cleanup and commit some code here. Just want to look through all the stuff that we did here. Clean up. I don't know what this, oh yeah, those are just properties. Property name cleanup. Fixed some fix me's that I just added. Took out state, yeah, okay. Oh, I haven't fixed that one thing. There's one more thing I want to fix before we commit this. This thing that I have to send it an ID. I shouldn't have to send it an ID. I'm just I should be able to create as many of these simple scalar encoders inline in the code as I want. And it should handle its own ID. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to generate a random ID for each one of them in its constructor. And so that way it knows its JavaScript code knows where its DOM code is, and they can sync. They can use that to sync. Because that's the only reason I need an ID, is because of that. So instead of this, and this will also get updated, it will use the same ID. So instead of this, I can simply generate a random ID. Does that sound like, does anybody out there know React? Because this is something that I can, maybe I could just look it up. React.js random ID. I don't know. How to generate unique IDs for form labels? No. What I should really do is just JavaScript random DOM element ID. I know there's functions that do this. It's simpler than this. GUID generator. Oh, I could do that. No, that won't work because it could be happening many times. Oh, you need to be cognizant of the keys in React, as it's how React finds elements in the DOM. Okay, let me take a look at this. I hope you understand the issue that I've got here. I am only giving it this ID. The only reason I have this ID is because, just because to link it to the DOM, to link the. Do I even? It's so I can get the D3 code, my D3 logic that happens after the component mounts. That's what it is. So the D3 logic can attach to the DOM that has been created. That's the only reason that I need an ID. And if there's a better way to do it than just creating a sort of random ID, or if the React already gives me one, which maybe this is what it could do. How it finds elements. So this shouldn't affect how React finds elements in the DOM, how I ID them, right? Keys help React identify which items have changed, are added, or are removed. Keys should be given to the elements inside the array to help the elements, to give the elements a stable identity. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Only if you use a component in an array, which you may. Okay. I might at this point. So I won't worry about this until I've got arrays of components, which makes sense. I might eventually have arrays of diagrams. So if I'm going to, I'll put this aside for later. I get this. I think I get this. This would be something that if I were creating an array of diagram components or something, I might want to add here if I was making a list of them. Which I'm not sure I'm going to be doing. So at this point, all I'm going to do is generate some random string. I'll say random GUID. JavaScript GUID. GUID's good enough. I don't want to install something for it. Like, it doesn't have to be a perfect GUID. It doesn't really have to be a GUID. Let's just say ID. That's it. That's it. That's simple. Base 64 encode it. That's no. Random string. There we go. Alphanumeric. Generate random alphanumeric string. Sorry. Good enough. I'm gonna do it. And eventually, so if this is something that I end up doing for all of my components, this would be something that I might put in an abstract base class. But for now, I'm just going to do this, and we'll make ID 10. I don't know. So this should work. Thanks, Will. Talk to you later. He dropped in and helped me out and then left. So this should work, right? This should work. Yeah, I mean, no, didn't work. Oh, I marked it as required. Yeah, so that tells me the properties works. Properties stuff. So I don't need an ID anymore. Just min max value bits width. All right, there we go. Property ID did not match. What? Property ID did not match. Where's this coming from? Server and client. Oh, snap. Oh. That's interesting. So we're getting into some isomorphic issues here. Apparently, there's some client component. There's a client instance of this component, and it is also generating a random ID, and it doesn't match what the client has. So this code is what am I looking at? Is this mine? Yeah. This is being run, this encoder component is being created on node and in the client, and there's some communication happening, and they're like, hey, these things don't have the same IDs. That's interesting. I didn't realize. What could I do here? Because I'm going to have more than one simple scalar encoder on the page. So they have to have different IDs. I guess I could just I'll just make the user, which is me. Did I go too far? Yeah, I went too far. I'm just going to make the user, me, provide this. Sorry. So I'll just say, okay, you're simple scalar encoder 1. That'll work. So, and it's not that bad. It's just I was hoping not to have to give everything an ID, but I will. Yeah, Falco, there has to be. I assumed this was happening because I think it's a part of either the Next framework that I'm using or React itself. I don't know what's React and what's Next, but Next is sort of the server-side framework I'm using to serve React components to the client. Yeah, it's Next. So that was it. Did you see what happened, Will? This when I gave it a random ID in my code, it gave me a mismatch between the client and the server. So that was interesting. So I'm just going to go and do it this way. I don't need that either. So I'll just require an ID and explicitly call it out. That's not so bad. All right, let me commit this so I can get components and pages. I'm just going to call this cleanup and encoding fixes. All right. So you guys should be able to see that right here. Yeah, 15 seconds ago. Okay. So, and that's running in CI. I forgot. I should probably put this in a PR But there's not. I don't think there's anything going on in CI yet. Is there? Not much. I knew we had tests. Weren't there tests? Maybe Vladislav just put this in CI and maybe it didn't do anything. I can't remember what it did. Oh, it does Heroku. Right, it does a Heroku deployment. So this will go live then as soon as this is done. It's the Heroku deployment. Okay, so we haven't actually done anything yet, and I'm going to take a break. So I'm going to leave the mobile cam on while I take a quick break. Stretch my bones. Stretch my bones? I don't know. Yeah, sure, why not? Hello. Again. Whoa, how did that happen? That's not supposed to happen. Weird. Oh, I've had that before. Somebody showed me mate, yerba mate. I love this stuff. That's a nice yerba mate cup. Mine broke down. It was made out of like coconuts or something. This is my coffee cup. Sorry, I'm not like strolling Twitter right now. Somebody said. Frontier. Oh, he's going full Buddhist on this. Okay. Anyway, I am digressing. Hello, Deftware. Good to see ya. Good to see everybody. Where was I? You know, what we were gonna do now. I had a friend who worked at a cafe, and he made me drink with a shot of mate and espresso. He called it a sad bunny. Mates can be pretty bitter, but it's high in caffeine. Speaking of, I got a fully leaded cherry Coke. I usually get diet, so like it's a treat. All right, let's get this component working. Let's get this working, like mouse interacting and everything, because it's not working right now, right? What we need here is this. Look, I have some of the events going right here. I'm just spitting out page X, but I don't even think it's right. Like page X right here. Look, now it's stopped. So this mouse handler is not even like working consistently. So what I want to do is, let's just do something real stupid first. Because I mean, the first thing you want to do is like see some interaction. I'm on a LaCroix Quick's great. All this sparkling water's great, as long as it doesn't have sugar sweetener in it. I think we should drink more water, and if it's sparkling, so be it. I like sparkling water. And I don't drink alcohol. I used to. So whenever I'm in the mood for an alcoholic drink, sometimes I'll just have sparkling water, and it's something. And if you put a lime in it, it looks like you're drinking with your buddies. Where were we? We were at a place. We were at a mouse interaction place. And that mouse interaction. Mouse interaction. Here it is. Handle number line hover. That's what we wanted. And I was trying to use the page X for something. What I want to do is to change. I may have to go buy a fan today because it feels hot in here already. There's not much air moving. There's a hardware store across the street. Let's see. Instead of console logging this, and I don't think this page X is the right thing, by the way. What I really want to do, what I was trying to do is get a D3 event, because there's a D3 mouse object that I should be able to get into, which is what I would like, but it didn't work when I tried it last time. Here are my fans, thanks. Could you blow into the screen? Because I'm a little hot. So whatever value I get, here's basically what I want. I want line X. And right now, let's just say it's E page X, but it's not. So I'm just going to log it. And I also want to move, excuse me, I want to move the marker. So the value marker, I'm going to get rid of this fix me. I'll worry about that. No, I'll leave it. Whatever. I don't like fix me's. They're distracting. I want to fix them. But these things are going to move. These things have to move. So what happens? I have to make the marker essentially dependent upon data. So either add value marker should be like change value marker, because this is only getting called once, it looks like. All of these are getting only called once. No, I know how to capture mouse events with D3, but what I'm saying is it didn't work with this because I'm doing this the React way, right? I'm saying here's the mouse move handler and I'm telling React this. So React might not update the DOM event, might not use the DOM event API in the way that D3 is expecting. Obviously it's not, because the mouse, D3 is never getting the event update. And it could be that this function is just being called too soon, right? It should be called after D3 has a chance. So that's probably the situation. But either way, I shouldn't have to depend on D3 to get the mouse event. I should be able to get it from React or from this event, whatever this event object is that React is handing me here. It's not a real event, it's a simulated event, a synthetic event, they call it. But what I'm figuring out here is, so when I set all this up in component did mount, this is called once, okay? And so I'm adding value marker one time and one time only. The number line 2. Now the output cells is a little bit of a different story. I'm calling it once, but it's different than these others. The difference is its rectangles rely on the data. It's data bound. So, and this is a D3 thing. If you create a selection that doesn't exist yet and you bind it to data like this, then essentially you can tell it when new rectangle, or when the rectangles are updated, do this with them. That's what this is. It's saying when data is applied, do this to the rectangles. If any new data enters into the mix, you're going to want to add a new rectangle and rectangles and treat them the same way. So this is great when you've got, and this is like for every rectangle that's going to be in this output array, and this function runs on each one. And for example, the color is on or off depending on the value of the data. Gotta turn this, switching songs, sorry. It's just a little teeny bit too loud. Okay. So this, let me go look and see how I did this in the other one, because I had it working fine, and I don't remember, did I make it data-driven? Exactly how did I make it data-driven? So this is the old one. Update value, this looks like the function. So this goes straight to a selection. It's not data-driven at all. It selects something that expects to be there already, and it just moves it. So I could do that. Then I could call this function many times, right? That's something we could do. If I wanted to do that, then this wouldn't be add value marker. It would be like set value marker. So let's see. Let's see what it would take to do this. I won't be appending this time. I will just be... This means we're going to need to add it here. We're going to have to add it to its markup, right? Because we're going to expect this marker to exist already. Because there's only one of them, so it makes sense instead of tying it to a data element with just like one piece of data in it. Usually you do that when you've got a whole bunch of elements that you want to plot or graph, and then you can programmatically plot them across a space. But for just one thing, I think we can just add the marker. So this is the encoding. So we could add the marker right here. Let's go see what we did in the other one. It was, here it is, G class value text and rect. That was it. That's the value marker. I'm trying to be a little more specific than that. So let's say value marker, number marker, no, value marker. Or was it mark? What did I call it? Value marker. Okay. Value marker. And it's got a text and a rect, and they're there. They're just always there. And so now we need to change this. Put you away. So instead of add value marker, is it F2? Rename? Yes. Set value marker. And we're not going to be getting a group. And let's be explicit about this, and we'll take the value as a parameter. Okay. So here, set value marker, we're not going to give it a group because it's already there, and we're going to give it the this dot value value. Okay, so we do want to give it a parent though. So we have this dot parent. I guess that's what we'll send it in. While we're being explicit, and the parent is the SVG. I think we set that up. And yeah, component did mount. Okay, let's move this behind. Whoops. See, I keep trying to use idea shortcuts. I wanted to move this down one. So now we've got the number line in the output cells. These are created once here. Already in markup, updated. Update, something like that. To move a line, use Alt plus the arrow keys. Perfect. I think that's great, because I use that a lot actually. Thank you, Will. Hey, I thought you were taking off. Okay, so set value marker now is still wrong because it's appending to this. Well, it's not appending anything right now, but we need to get the text. We are going to simply select parent. Is it find? I always screw this up. No, it's select. Select just text, right? I should use quotes. You realize you're in the wrong time zone. That's funny. So we want the text and we want the mark. Rect. So it's just a rect and that, and then we don't need this. We don't need this. All we need is text dot. Oh, text. And how serendipitous. All of the tabs just work out. I think this might work. Let's see. Okay, so the mark is a little off the mark. Ha ha ha. Oh, we do have a problem here. Class, yeah. This is a thing with React. Class name. Okay, so the marker's still sort of off. That's weird. Why did it do that? Let's go find it. Oh, because the value marker. I probably have CSS somewhere. No. X and Y, font size, scalar, class. Do I have any mark or CSS? So one thing I do not like about React is having all the CSS and the style and the logic and the markup all in the same place. It just doesn't feels weird to me, real weird. So am I ever actually getting the G? No, so that's the problem. That's one of the problems. I need to select a group by name when I do this. And it's not parent, it's parent select value marker. Right. Okay. And this can be a can't make it a G, as it is. So what? How did it floated up? And I'm not sure why. Because the whole value marker is floated up. Excuse me. Oh, so I think it's just it didn't perform this translation on it. I need to translate it. Yeah, I just have to add this translation. Oh, here's another code smell. There's only one translation. Okay, because it's just for the number line. What about this output cells? I must have translated it too. I did not. I used top margin instead. Okay, so, okay. Another fix me. Use group translation or margins, not both. Okay. And I'm gonna put this right here too. And I'm also going to do this. I'm also going to transform. So I add this number line and then I translate it down, and then when I do the value marker, I could translate it down too. That's probably what I want to do. I think the translation is cleaner. Unless, yeah. I'm gonna do this. And I can add this to the function here because it can be called many times because we're just setting a, yeah, it's not efficient, but it'll work, right? So I'm gonna put a fix me here. This should work. Yeah, that worked. Okay. All right, so now I sort of cleaned up this, and now I should be able to set value marker. Now, let's offload. Let's make these functions know about their parents, not this component did mount function. Especially for value marker. It doesn't feel like this should be something it knows about. So what if we just, let's just take this out for now. So we can call set value marker from anywhere and do that. So now I should be able to call set value marker from this handle number line hover. As long as this is what I think it is. And I'm not sure about that. We'll find out. Of course I can't tell. Oh, it didn't error out, so and actually the debugger stopped. This is this. Excellent. So it's set value marker with 27.5. Right, because that's the value, of course. So I'm going to set it with line X, and because I want to see what happens. I just want to see it move. I just want to see something happen. And it's like off the charts immediately, so, because it's plotting the values that are way, way off to the, even here. So page X certainly isn't the right X to get. What I want is I want to get the pixel value, basically the reverse mapping from bits to output display. I want the reverse of that. But we're not in output cells. This is in number line. But we made the scales here, so value to screen. So I need to use screen to value. That will get me, and I send in the X there. And that should get me the range. So let's try that. So knowing that this is not the right line X, I know that. Okay. I'm going to say value equals this dot bits to output display. I forgot what it was already. Screen to value. Screen to value. Oh my gosh. Line X. So we're taking the value of the mouse and the pixel and the screen in pixels, and we should get back a value within the value range that we specified. And that's what I want to set as the marker. Knowing that this isn't going to work because line X is wrong. But I at least want to see movement. Okay, so now at least I can see movement. And it's a linear movement. It's not like an exponential jump. Okay, so that's good. So it means that our range is working. We just have to get the proper X value. And this is really jumpy. As you can see, it should be a lot smoother than this. So like the events that we're getting, the hover events we're getting from React are coming really slowly, and I don't know why. So there's two problems so far. I wonder if I even need any of this stuff. Nice code all, never seen that. I've always Shift Delete, Control V. Nice code all. I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean by code all. Shift Delete, Control V. I'm on a Mac. I don't know if that makes a difference. Anyway, so here's a question. First of all, this function is not getting called. Maybe Will, if you're still listening, can you tell me if I'm doing this wrong? So essentially, I want to on hover over the number line, which is what I've got highlighted right here. Okay, that's got it. I want this function to be called, but it's not getting called enough. Like there's obviously a delay as I'm moving. I'm moving, and it's only happening occasionally, and I'm not sure exactly why. It happens when I move up and down like this. So perhaps it has to be directly over. Oh, it has to be directly over one of these elements. Okay, so that's a clue. If I put it immediately over the line, it slides smoothly. So what exactly? So it's this path. If I keep it on the path, I'm adding the It's okay. It's probably because I'm adding it to the number line. Perhaps I should add the hover to the whole SVG element and decide what to do with it in that fashion. Because here I'm just adding it to the number line, and the number line elements are so small. So I figured it out well. It's the number line elements. It's an SVG, so they're so small. What I probably need to do is change this so it's not on the number line, and just have a complete like SVG mouse hover. And so this would be handle SVG mouse over, mouse hover. I'm gonna call it over, mouse over, right? Okay. So in this case, our event page might be in a better place. So let's see what happens when I do this. Let's see if it even works. Oop, cannot read property bind of undefined. Oh yeah. I changed the. That's how I got this to work. I forgot I did that right here. That's why this, when I said, oh, this is really what I expected. It's only because I used this bind. It's a JavaScript thing. Sweet. Okay, so I've got the mouse over interaction that I want. I mean, it's not perfect, but so now that let's see what we have in this in this element here. E. So bubbles, buttons, cancelable. Excuse me. Movement X, movement Y, page X, page Y, screen X, screen Y. What I really want to get right here is exactly the position of the mouse. Right now. That's because that's where I want the marker to be. Right over the mouse. You want the cat. It's not loud enough, is it? Hold on. I think I can fix it. Oh, the volume is like full blast. Darn it. But that's it. Thanks for reminding me of the cow sound. Okay. Well, let's ask Google. React.js get mouse position. Getting mouse coordinates in React. I could just do a subtraction, but I'd rather see if there's a way I can do it without doing any math. Because when you start doing these little bitty modifications to things in one place, and you end up doing another one in another place and another one in another place, then you get some really strange interactions and it's hard to debug. So if I can go somewhere to an API and get the exact value that I won't have to worry about that. So there's screen X and screen Y. React events. So this is basically it. Yeah, on mouse move bind. Oh, they did the bind right here. Oh, I'm gonna do that. That's better. All right, that makes sense. Yeah, the UI stuff totally gets hacky. I'm gonna try and keep it unhacky. And one of the ways I can do that is by doing this. So I can do this bind trick right here. So I can say this on mouse move this. Yeah. That's great. So I don't need this, right? I can do this all at the same time when I register the event here. Right? And that should work. And my this should still be my this. All right, it still works because otherwise it would have broken. Okay, cool. So, hey, we just cleaned something up. Okay. Handle SVG. So, okay, so let's look in here at screen X. What was screen X? Screen X is negative 1680. So the page, I could probably figure. Maybe you're right. Maybe maybe the best way to do this is probably just has to do with a margin that I'm already setting up, right? So here it is. It stops as soon as I get. Well, that's because my mouse listener stops there. But it's basically. Oh, the value's not getting updated either. Value 1x. Let's change. Oh, while we're here. Oh, that's not right. Set value marker value. What we're not doing is we also need to in the text. Oh, should be doing this. Value. Right there. Yeah. And of course, I'm gonna have to round that. Excuse me. Here's what I was doing. If mouse is less than 80, return. So, but I was binding on the wrong element, and I was actually saying I was using D3 and then taking away some of the margins. So maybe that is what I should be doing. And then getting the min value. And then make sure that it's precision rounded. X to value. This was my old code, so I don't really trust it. See, I'm doing the screen to value is essentially the same as X to value. So I'm doing all these translations before even sending it in. So page X, and let me look into the marker. It's probably this. Is it this magic 40? Let's see if it's this magic 40. Almost. It's the 40 plus this little buffer, isn't it? Whatever buffer that is. It's 40 plus the 10 that I used. Right, where was it? I remember using a 10. There it is. It's gutter. Gutter, and this should be, that's okay. So it's this gutter plus the 40. And the 40, I should call it, what did I translate the whole thing over? What if I don't translate this? What happens? I'm gonna not do this translation. Oh, that's just down. Okay. Okay, so that's the 40 down. So that 40 should be top gutter. And we'll make this side gutter. So right here, top gutter. Just getting rid of some of these magic numbers here. I'm going to go with translations using gutter margins. Is there a variable at the offset of the React element? No, I'm doing all the offsets myself. I think. Is there a left? I think I just made side. No. I think I just have top and side. Top and side. Yeah. Sometimes I call it offset. No? Okay, I think I'm okay with that. So I've just got side gutter, top gutter. Marker height. See, it's separate. It was a little too big. I'm gonna make it 30. Let's make it 20. Let's make it 20 wide. There. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just messing around. Okay. Okay, so we're getting close. Now, I definitely do want, we have to make that one adjustment. Oh, this is going to be not, that is not what I thought it was. So that 40, so there's, the page X is 40 pixels off for some reason. First, we want to take out the side gutter. I'm not even looking at my stream health. It comes and goes. It says it's excellent right now. Yeah. It's stable. All right. So I need to figure out, so I can certainly use page X here. There's two things that I want to do on this mouse over, because I could be hovering down here or I could be hovering up here. So I'm going to deal with the top case first. And it doesn't matter whether I'm, the only thing that matters is down here is which display update am I going to do. And I'm only updating the value marker right now. So if I do this minus 40, I mean, I assume this should work. It's perfect, right? But so where else is that 40 coming from? Top gutter. Is top gutter being used somewhere that's not top? It's not. So there's another 20 for marker height. Oh, here's a top margin. This is for the output cells, though. "23-second delay." I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm sorry about that. I am like, this was today, and it says I had like 4 unstable periods, 15 seconds of instability, 20 seconds of instability. But how do I, oh, I can select an issue. Just experiencing some networking and encoding issues. So our broadcast drops frames, broadcaster software says stream's okay, very large delay. I'll put that. Very large delay, let's say that. There's no way to just get the origin of the slider line itself as an object. Yeah. I mean the number line? It's here. It's right here. The number line. And so why does the number line start? I've translated it 40 down, but I've translated it 0, X and Y. So I'm wondering, why is it, oh, I think it pads itself. Oh, there's a translation. It moves them, but so it pads itself. I know why. I know why. I remember doing this now. It's in the scale. Side gutter. Yeah, so I added side gutter. I don't need to put 0 here. So these already take into account the side gutter. So when I get the value marker, I want to translate it side gutter and top gutter, I think. Is that right? No, that's not right. That's not right. That's not what I want. That's not what I want. I want to, when I update the value, when I'm trying to translate the mouse, the page X to the value. Oh, I'm already pulling out the side gutter. It's this minus 40 that's tripping me up. Where's that 40 coming from? I mean, I understand it works, but I just don't understand why it works. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just add fix me. Where the does this 40 come from? We still should do this. Do this precision round thing. We're gonna just round it to 1. That way it will show up as a, oh, I don't have that utility. This was in LabUtil, so I had a utility library apparently. Precision round. I might come back to this and pull it later. Yeah, if it was 42, it would be easy to explain somehow. All right, I'm just add this to as a function up here. At least that make ID is gone. And another fix me. Add a utils library. Okay, precision round. Should work now. Beautiful. All right. Oh. All right. So if we go below the bounds, we don't want to. We don't want to do anything. So if value is greater than this dot max, or value is less, let's do less than first. If it's less than this dot min, or value is greater dot max, return. Some people won't like that, so I'll fix it. Sweet. And else. Why not? Otherwise, we set the value marker. Great. Oh, that didn't. Okay, that worked. Hooray. I went a little fast and it didn't. But it's working. Okay, so a couple things. Let's make some little things. Hey, you guys are added some things. Thank you. So I'm gonna add center value marker in simple scalar encoder around the rect marker. That's just going to be a UI thing. I don't have a label for UI. Let's make one. UI blue. Made this one blue. Maybe I can make this a color? Okay. Oh, this is also. No, I'll just make it a UI thing. Okay. So that could be something somebody else does, if you want to. It's just a simple, like, that marker sort of starts right at the X of the mark, but it should sort of depend on how wide the text is and center somewhere nicely. All right, so we got one interaction working. So let's Yeah, I'm definitely going to use the y value to split. So let's add components. Hey, I'm getting hosted. Thanks, NetPixel. Appreciate it. Hello, viewers from NetPixel. I'm making some visual components that are going to explain concepts of hierarchical temporal memory, which is an artificial intelligence technology based upon how intelligence works in the neocortical common loop in the brain. And no, that's not all just BS. Like, it's really, we're doing it. I work for a company that investigates general intelligence algorithms in the brain, and we've come up with a bunch of different algorithms that we think are happening in your neocortex, and this is going to be a visualization of those things. So, for details. Ooh, whoa, hold on. Let me send you to the README. This is the place to check it out. You are doing that, and I just spent 30 minutes to set an interval in React. Yeah. Now, I'm new to React, so I am really fumbling through this right now. I've gotten a lot of help from people, which is nice. So each one of these is a page, and I'm trying to create these diagram React components that are using D3.js, but I'm using like React for mouse interactions, and so then I got to call into D3. But what it's eventually going to look like is this page here. So I'm sort of translating all of this prose with the code examples and then these diagrams into React, because these are not React components. Right. So all of these code examples and D3.js widgets I'm translating into React components. And there's several of them, and they're all very dynamic and interactive. And so all of these are going to get translated, and we're going to create this elaborate documentation around HTML systems and explaining how they work, how to encode data for them. And all of this stuff will be translated into React components. And some of these are not even finished. You know, I'm trying to get real visual with stuff and explain how encodings work to be input into brain-like systems. I even have some more in-depth visualizations for spatial pooling, for initial connections for spatial poolers, where it talks about receptive fields, potential pools. So this stuff is all working, it's just I haven't gotten to moving this yet. So I will eventually get to these, translating these all into React components as well. So, hey, thank you for the follow, NetPixel, I appreciate it. So a lot of visual stuff is going to be happening on this stream over the next month or so. I'll be working on this every Thursday for sure, for several hours every Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific. So right now we're not very far along. We're here. So we've got a lot of work to do. And I'm still working on sort of just the basics of translating these React components into, translating these D3 widgets into React, and I'm going to be using Redux for the data at some point soon, as soon as we need to. That's the idea anyway. So, did I commit? I can't remember. I was about to. Okay. First of all, what did I do? Thank you for the follow, Abhidzek. Yeah, let's commit. And what I did was I fixed mouse interaction with number line. Do another push. I'm just pushing straight upstream. All of these are getting deployed in real time to building-htmlsystems.heroku here, which is another. Did I add that to the README? I think I did. I think I did. Hold on. Yes. So you can click here and get to this too. So in real time, is every time I push a commit, we'll get an update here. It hasn't quite updated yet, but it will. In a few moments, we'll get to see that. I've been having a few Twitch stream problems, so I had that open. Okay. So this is all good. Now we want to enable the other mouse over interaction. So we've got one here. We're going to have one interaction for the number line, which is essentially going to change the value. But you notice that the encoding is not updating. So we need to update the encoding when we update the value. So we are going to do that. And that'll look better. That'll look cool. So in the handle script, we're just setting set value marker. What we should probably have is a function called set value on this object that will set the value marker and also set a new encoding. Or I could just say this dot encoder dot encode value. I could do this right here. Say encoding equals. But I'm not sure that that's going to repaint anything. Yeah, I don't think that's going to repaint anything. So what needs to happen is we need to call add output cells, or this essentially needs to be called again. And again, I got halfway through this and I stopped. What I wanted to do was offload this piece of information out of this add number line here, for example. So we're not sending it its group. We're going to have it understand how to get to its group. At least then we're keeping the number line coupling with the DOM in the same place. So I'm going to do the same thing here. And that'll allow us to call these functions without knowing anything about the DOM. Okay, so now I can call add output cells from here, I think, once I've set the encoding, this dot add output cells. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. So that's D3. So we've got an interactive. So this was part of the big challenge here, was getting a component in React that encapsulates D3. So the D3 initializes itself after the React component is available, which is this function here, component did mount. So that's when we go in and we hook up the D3 magic. And then we can call add output cells over and over to render the add. And it's add, but it might be a good idea to say render output cells, because we could also do the same thing, because we could call add number line over and over. So let's just say render number line, just for consistency, and set value marker. And again, let's just render value marker. And yeah, let's just kick that out. So we can call these as many times as we want, although this will just, whoops. Yeah, because we already have them in the DOM. So all this stuff should still work. Yeah, refresh still works. And we're actually using the encoder from simple HTML, which is great. Now I want to commit again, because I finally got it working. Auto encoding on mouse hover value change. Now this should have part of this already done. Oh, maybe it's not deploying. Oh, I'll deal with that later. That's not a big deal. Okay, don't need this. So now the other piece is to render these Bezier curves, right? And if you look at the demo not the demo, but the original number encoder, and you hover over here, you get these nice Bezier curves that pop up and like frame it. Like this bucket can represent any value from 30 whatever to 46. Like that's you see down here. So, and that should perfectly overlap just like that. So that's what we want to do next. And that's just going to be another mouse interaction. Well, the same event handler, and we're gonna separate at Y at a certain point whether we're going to interact with the top bar or this thing. So we'll probably separate it based on. Well, we could do it just to see the element source if it's this thing. So let's do that, and we won't have to rely on Y. So if it's anywhere over here, we'll have that one. But if it's over this box, right? If it's over this box, the mouse, we want to do something different. So here's our handle SVG mouse over. We're getting our line X. All we care about is X and the value. That's fine. And then if it's outside of the range, so if it's down here, it won't be a value. So we're only going to care about the value. I'm just wondering how. Let's do this. Let's split this. I'm gonna split this and call this handle number line hover, and I'll just send the E here, and then we'll create one called handle output cell hover, and then we'll put all this here, and we'll just say handle number line hover E. Boom. Okay, so we got this nicely segregated. Does this work? No. I tried to do like an option move function. In IntelliJ, you can move an entire function as if it were a line, which is nice. Okay, so now we have to decide which one we want to do. So I don't know what this synthetic event is, but I would expect a real event to have a target. So let's see what the differences are in the target here. Oh, I didn't use this. Okay. Okay. Where's the console? All right, so here the target is recs, SVGs, all sorts of stuff. Down here, it's rectangle. It's always rectangle. But this, it could be a marker rectangle. So this is tricky because it's sort of tripping itself up. I want to see something here. Is this? Yeah, it actually is tripping on the marker. So it's moving the mouse, and then it's updating the marker, and then the next mouse hover is, again, like the marker. So we don't want marker hovers. We only want, if it's a rect class bit, right? So let's just say that. So if e.target has class, I know this might not work. Bit. This dot handle output cell hover E. Else handle line number line hover. Yeah, so there's no, so I didn't make that a jQuery thing. So I could just wrap it in jQuery. I could just do this. Somebody might hate me for that. Does anybody hate me for that? Does this still not work? Oh, I don't even have jQuery on here. So what should I do? Hello, Alexander Bigolev. What's up? I'm trying to. I'm inside a React component right now, and I have a reference to a DOM element, and I just want to see if it has a certain class, and I don't want to pull in jQuery if I don't want to, and I know there's an easy way to do this, and I've completely forgotten how to do it. Let's go back to the, there we go, e.target. I think, can I say just attribute.class or something like that? E-target. That's an SVG. Attributes, wait a minute. I know what to do. E target.attr. No, get attribute, right? No? Get class? I like, for a former front-end engineer, this is sort of stupid, right? You're learning React and English. That's good to learn both. I had, there's quite a few Russians on HTML forum, on our forum, which you can see here. Just in my last stream, someone with a Russian-sounding name, I think he was from Poland, Vratislav, helped me with several React things, so I'm happy to have the help. Okay, I'm just gonna ask Google for the React way. React.js get element class. Find elements. No, just get the React components element. It's just a DOM element. Interacting with the DOM, accessing DOM elements in React. Get elements by class name. JavaScript. Get element class. Class name property. Get elements by class name. I could just say .class name, right? Falco, you're in Prague. Okay, let's just do that then. Equals bit. Let's see if that works. Okay, I mean it worked, so it didn't break anyway. Handle, hover. So, but it's still, so this is actually, I don't think, ever happening. SVG animated string. Oh, it's the SVG. It's the SVG. Well, what about the current target? Is it always the SVG? So this time it's the rect. One's a rect. Target class name. Anim value base value. I didn't expect class name to be SVG animated string. So I can't just do an equate. Oh, Radislav's from Prague. From Prague. Okay, yeah. Czech Republic. What is an SVG animated string? SVG animated string. Interface represents string attributes can be animated from each SVG declaration. So the class names can be animated? I didn't think they could. You need to create SVG attribute before doing anything else. Anim is read-only. If the given attribute properly is being animated, it contains the current animated value. It doesn't matter which one, apparently. So, okay, I'm just going to use it. I'm going to say class name dot anim. What is it? Animval? Animval. This seems kind of weird to do this. It seems like a little bit too much information, but it worked. Okay, so that's what I wanted. When it hovers over this, it shouldn't do anything because I haven't programmed it to. When it hovers anywhere else, it changes the value. Okay, so it did what I wanted, but I don't. I'm really not sure if this will always work because this anim value thing seems a little bit too private. That's okay. We're gonna use it. Okay, so what do we want it to do? So when we're hovering over the cell and then we want to do something different. And so let's look back at the old code. And let's see what it does when it hovers. Update output bits. That may be it. Update output bits. Okay, so no, that's not it. It's the Bezier curve thing. This is the line function. Okay. Hover range. So this is my line data for the curves. This is kind of complicated. Getting these lines right was a little bit tricky. So I draw, I have to get the points where they're supposed to be and then draw a nice curve between them. So we're gonna have to figure that out. Hover range. So selected output bit. Excuse me. So I'll have to get this, but let's steal this whole hover range function because it is something that I can call and just send it the selected bit in the output, in the encoding. Bezier, thank you. Bezier. I always say it wrong. Bezier curve. Is that right? Bezier? Bezier? First you said Bezier. Is it A or A? I should just look it up, right? Bezier curve. Pronunciation. Go ahead and play it.
Bezier curve.
Bezier. Bezier curve.
Bezier curve.
Okay.
Bezier curve.
Bezier. 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 Thank you. Okay, ignore the JSDS crap, but this hover range, I'm hoping, it looks like it's a function I could just pull out, which is great. So I'm just going to try and pull this out. I know it's not going to work. I know there's going to be some values that it will not have access to, but it's a start. Oh, and I probably can just take this whole... So this expects to get a selected bit Actually, look at this. In this case, I'm passing it a selected bit, but it never actually gets it. It gets its selected bit from this data from somewhere else. JSDS, which I'm not going to talk too much about. We're removing that. Okay, so this is going to break everything. So what I'm going to do is sort of just unselect it. We certainly need to get the selected output bit. So somehow, based upon this hover, I need to identify which bit I am in. So I should be able to do that using the reverse scale that I used to create this. So if we go back to the output cells function, here's the scale that I used, bits to output display. I'm going to have to create a reverse scale for this. And I don't mind doing this right here, honestly. So this is essentially going to be this reversed. So I'm just going to say from the UI range to the bits, and this should give me back an index between 0 and the number of bits. So this is not bits to output display, it's display to bit range, or something like that. So now I should be able to get like same thing that I did here, this line X thing. And again, where does the 40 come from? I don't know. I don't know, but I'm gonna leave it in for now. So I've got my range. So this should be my line X. And I should be able to say bit index equals display to bit range line X. So not big integer, bit index. Let's see what that does. It breaks, that's what it does. D3 is not defined. Did I pass it in or something? Probably did. That doesn't make sense. Oh, width is not defined. Oh. Never mind. D3 is defined, width is not defined. So I don't have a width here. It's this dot width. And this dot bits. Alright. See what the console says. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. So all we have to do is sealing it, I think. So the bit index is going to be math.seal. Let's try that. And then where's this other console log? I don't want this anymore. Stop doing that. Check it out. That's it. All the way to 50, 45, etc. It works. That's what we want, right? Okay. So I know the output cell that I want. So let's call that selected output bit instead of bit index. Selected output bit. And now hover group. Okay, so I'm probably going to have to go look and see if there's any other DOM elements. Is there a hover? So I think I added all this. No. I think this is it. I think it's this range. Yes, this is it. So this little DOM is the what's it called? Bezier curve. There's a path left and a path right. So those are the two Bezier curves. And the circle is going to be a dot that selects, it's like right in the middle of the rectangle. So we want this, and we'll put it at after the encoding. I'm not saving that. Down in our markup, out and after the output cells. Okay. Class range, visibility hidden. Okay. So this is going to operate on that. So here it is. Here's the hover group. So if we have the bit. Oh, so this is actually just called index. So let's just call it index. So let's just undo this and see what happens. See what breaks. I mean, everything's going to break, I'm sure. Starting with this padding, because that's going to be CX. So that's going to be side gutter times bits to output display. That was defined up here. Okay, I might try and, I'm not sure this is exactly what I want to do, but I want to make sure it works first. So let me just put a fix me here. Don't define these on every hover call. Okay. So you see what I'm saying? I'm creating the scales here, but I'm doing it every time somebody hovers, so it's not efficient, but I just want to make sure that these scales are the right ones that I'm going to be using, because I should be able to call this to get, I don't even have a cell width, do I? Yeah, I do. See, but it's out in output cells, so width divided by bits. So that's something, again, that I'm going to have to either calculate on the fly or stash somewhere. And this is like this. You know, this is not too big of a deal to calculate on the fly. Oops. Let's stop bits. So cell width, line X. Oh, I already did that. CX is the gutter plus that, plus the cell width divided by 2. This is not a top margin. This is gutter, top gutter, plus 30. I don't know why yet. So let's just deal with the circle first, because that's the easy part. So let's see if this works. Of course, I'm going to do this for a long time until I get used to the React. Class name, class name, class name, class name. Okay. Okay, so bits is not defined. That's easy. That's just this dot bits. Side gutter, this dot width. Side gutter. Get range from bit index is not defined. Get range from bit index is display to bit range. No, it's bits to, hold on a second. Am I using this? I'm not even using this yet, so let's not. I just want to see that circle work. Hover group is not defined. Hover group. So I must have done that somewhere in this other one. There it is. Hover group is select g.range. So I think I can easily do that right here. And this is not SVG, it's parent. Sorry. Excuse me. Okay, please work. Okay, so it's not working. I should handle output cell hover. Hover group. It's there, but it. Trying to select a circle that maybe doesn't exist. Thank you. Thank you, Falco. I think I'm trying to. Did I put a circle? So it thinks that there's a circle here. And there is. This is the circle. Class range. Maybe it's the visibility. I didn't change. Here it is. Hover group attribute visibility. So actually I'll just turn that on. Maybe that works. Yeah. See, that's what I wanted. I want this dot. Okay, so that shows us that our hover is working. We just have to put it in the right spot. So the CY is going to be top gutter plus, I don't really know. This is again one of the magic numbers. It's going to work better probably at like 80. Yeah. What does this one do? This was like right at the tippy top, right? So it's actually using the same Y as the rectangles in there. So however it's calculating should work. Not the number line hover, the output cells. So however, whatever it uses for Y top margin, which is 120. Okay. So still trying to figure out the best way to set up these margins. Const. Yeah, it's supposed to stay in that horizontal line. I'm just putting it right. I'm just trying to put it in the right place. It definitely follows the mouse. It follows the mouse like this, see? So that little dot is right here. And it only follows the mouse while it's over the rectangles. Once it's over here, the value should be moving. So I'm going to say top top I don't know what to say. Output cells top margin. Something. I don't know, but it's 120. I know that. So whatever I put here, 120. Top margin. Wherever I put top margin, 6 places. All six places, really? Oh, those are not the places I want. Not that one. This one, place. That's the only place. All right. I'm just trying to standardize a little bit. Top margin. So this is. So should I ignore the top gutter, or should I put? Let's just try this. Output cells top margin. I'm not sure if that should include the gutter or not. So that's not what I wanted. So let's not put the top gutter. Yeah, that's what I want. That's it. Oh, but now it's off. It's off a little bit. I thought it was right in the right spot, but it looks like it's off a little. Maybe we don't want to put the side cutter. The selected index is suddenly off. No, it's not. It's the... Where's the... index. I just want to make sure that the index is right. 1. Yeah, so the index is right, but it's putting the circle in the wrong place. It's just 1 off. It's just an off by 1 issue. Right, because this index is 1, but it's really 1 minus 1. Or I could just floor it instead of sealing it, right? Ta-da! That makes sense. Yeah, because the index really is 0. It should be 0. Everything else is working. Okay, this is good. This is good progress. All right. So the Bezier curves. Let's see if we can hook them up real quick. Let's see how hard this is going to be. All right. Let's do 1. So there's an encoder min and max here. I haven't actually pulled the encoder out, but I think I have to say this dot. Actually, let's just say let encoder equal this dot encoder. And the value range, that is right. That's this. That was something that did not work. Get range from bit index. Okay, we need to look back and find that. I forgot to copy it. Get range from bit index. Ooh. Oh, yeah. So this is something I had to just use the line function. So these are a couple things that I'm going to have to pull out of here as well. Now I'm starting to remember this. We can put it in the function, but it's not going to be the best place in the function. So there's a line function here that we need to get, and this get range from bit index. For now, I'm going to put them inside this handle output cell hover function. However, it's not really where I want them to be because this function gets called all the time. Okay. And it's not necessarily the greatest thing to be creating these things that don't need to be created right now. So this is a D3 thing. So this could, like for this, for example, this would be created way off somewhere else, but I'll fix that in a minute. Yeah, I will get to it. As soon as it works, I will add a fix me. Get range from bit. So this now should work. So we should get a value range here. What is this? Value scale side margins. See, that's another thing that I don't have. Value scale side margins. Value scale top margin, value scale side margin. So I'm not. I think I can use the gutter for this. I think this is side gutter. Yeah. Okay, let's see what breaks. What's broken? Anything broken? Value to x is not defined. value to x. That is in, let's see, value to x. That is defined in set up value axis. Oh, this is in the value axis. So that's in the number line. Yeah, so here it is, I think. Yeah, this is the axis that I need to call. This value to screen. Wow, I just went off into the ether. What happened? I like this song because it reminds me of the, well, it's just like samplings of that classical piano tune. I forget what it's called. It's in another language. I really drug out this cherry Coke. I still got like a third of it left. It's almost lunchtime, so I will take a break for lunch, but I probably will come back after. Yeah, that's it. I don't know how to say it though. Yeah, that's it. Eric Satie? Great stuff. All right, anyway, so this value to x thing. Let me try and figure out what it is trying to do first. It's value to x. So I am getting so for each one of these lines, or for this range, I essentially have a center, which is where the circle is, and then I have a left value bound and a right value bound. And so this is just supposed to calculate near x and far x. So if I calculate my own left value bound, and it should give me a pixel value for where that should be. So that's another range, which is this scale linear min and max and width. So I mean, I think I could just create this. Again, this is stuff that I'm going to need to clean up. I could put this down here with these other things that don't need to be created here. Value to x. And then this is going to be this dot min, this dot max, this dot width. Alright. Value scale top margin. This is going to be top gutter. I don't really know this. I don't really know if these numbers are good or not. Value scale top margin. I'm not sure this is the right value to use, but we'll make adjustments. All right, so it's not drawing the line, probably because there's something down here like this. Well, I think I have to continue uncommenting things for it to work. Left line data push value scale top margin again, which is going to be top gutter, top gutter. Okay, let's see what happens. Look at that! It worked. It worked. It worked perfectly. It worked great. Okay, awesome. Oh, that's not right. See that? That works good. You know, the curve's a little bit iffy if you get too far off, but that the right side needs to stop right there. Cow sound. Lots of cows. I need like a whole herd of cows. Okay, so we still have this little bug here, but I'm gonna leave it. No, I'm not gonna leave it. The right, so we just have to bound the right range at the max value, right? So I would think that would happen already. I mean, I just copied this code and it does it. See, it does it. Why does this do it and the other code doesn't? So there must be something that I missed. So we're talking about the right line, and it's going to be the right line's second value. So this is the origin, right line data push. Whoops. This is the circle, CXCY. It's this piece of data, right line data push, the far X. It's the far X. This is higher than the max, it seems. It's got to be. So let's put a. Let me just think for a moment here. Far X is 510. See, that's the problem. It should never be more than 490. So, oh, I know what it is. Maybe. So when we made the value to X here, I didn't add the gutters. So I think I just need to add the gutters here to this range. Because when I did it for, excuse me, or I should just be using this value to screen, not value to X, because it's min and max. Yeah, I should be using this value to screen, not value to X. So I created this value to X. I don't need it, I think. This guy. So instead of value to X, we'll call value to screen. See if that works. Well, sort of, almost, but I'm off a little bit. So probably because I don't need to add those buffers that I think I added here, like this. Oh no, these are the curving points. So so it's this side gutter I don't need to add, because that's accounted for in the value to screen. That's what I want. That's perfect. So now the guttering is totally accounted for in the scale function. And this is perfect. Almost perfect. Good enough for now. Yeah. See, it's a little off there. See how that's off? So I could... I'll worry about that later. I'm going to take a quick screenshot of that. Oops, that's not the right one. Yeah, this is. I'm gonna file that as a bug. Card. Here, can I just say no? I want to create a new card. Is this it? Create team. But I want it to pop up right away. Okay. Fix value range recurve display bug. Bug UI diagram. Simple scalar encoder React component. Don't quite. Oh overlap the, don't quite sync with the actual value range for selected bit. So I'm hoping I can just take this and do like that. And just mark it up. This. That's what I'm talking about right here. I don't know if that helps or not, but there. So, can I just like drag this over? That'd be cool. Drop files. Cool. Sweet. So I got a little picture here. And there we go. I got a bug. If anyone wants to work on a bug, I'm going to commit, and then I'm going to go grab something to eat. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to start probably putting in some content. I might as well try and put in some content around this page, and then make some space holders. Let's see. I got a lot of fixed me's in there, I know. I better put those fixed me's back in for... Maybe I should just clean this up. Like this line function here, honestly, I could put this line function up here. I could put it right here. Because it just defines the curves. That should still work. Right? Yeah, that still works. The other thing in there, not render output cells. So I think I did this, I cleaned up the translations. This get range from bit index could be moved. But I'm not sure. These things, this bits to... This is actually done when the number line is first rendered. So I could get rid of this. And I would put it, so it happens right here in render number line. Or no, it doesn't. I thought, was it value marker? Wherever value to screen. Sorry, I'm confused. Hold on. If I put them, don't do that. What's the difference here? 0 to bits. Yeah, these are bits. Oh, right. This is not, okay. This is for the output bits, not the, what I was thinking. So this is an output bits, not the marker. Here's where it is, bits to output display. Okay, so so I could remove this here. I could actually create this when the component is mounted and just say this dot and keep all my scales that I'm using sort of throughout, because this is the same thing I'm doing up here. I'm creating these scales. These scales are happening. I could do this in the same place. Then I would at least keep this, keep all my scales in the same spot. So then I'll have all my scales. And down here, I will have to fix these to say this dot and this dot. And okay. See what happened here. Failed to fetch. Failed to fetch. Failed to fetch. Just failed to fetch. What did I do? Just want to make sure that there's nothing weird going on here. Okay, I'm still getting the same problem. What did I mess up? I messed up something. I changed too much. Certainly changed too much. Okay, hold on a second. Okay. Most likely this is... What did I just do? Display to bit range. Bits to output display. Aha, here's one. Bits to output display. So that's certainly a problem. Let bits to output display equals this dot bits to output display. There's another one. This should be this dot. This dot. Okay. There we go. Okay, so that was just a little cleanup. So we got some of those functions out. We still have this function, but I'm just going to leave it here. The excuse me. I could move this pretty easily. I could make it just a class function, I think. I don't even need okay, range from bit index. How am I using it? Let me see. Index encoder. That's it. I'm just calling it once. Yeah, I'm not sure why I did it this way, but it should be pretty easy just to do this. And then just call this dot, right? Yeah. Okay, so I pulled that out. I still don't know where this 40 is coming from, but that's okay. Okay, I'm gonna commit. And what we did was we got output cell houseovers working. Cool. All right, so we've got a diagram for the most part working. There's a couple of buggy things, like I said, you can see here. Okay, what do we got here? Add a language selector and put text in language blocks so people can translate blocks into their native languages. And testing frameworks for React. Oh, thank you. Cool. A lot of surface area and integration tests as React components have lots of interactions. Yeah. I'm a little afraid. Honestly, I'm a little afraid. Enzyme. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this in brainstorm because that's good. So let's say I definitely know we're gonna want some set up some unit testing and a few basic tests. That, you know, I should have something more specific. I should say create unit tests for simple scalar encoder React component. That's grunt work and automation. So these should run in run in Travis CI. Okay. Okay. All right, you guys, I am going to take a lunch break. And I'm gonna run downstairs and grab a sandwich or something.